For my service learning project, I worked on the Outback Farm, which is a 5-acre farm on the south end of Western's campus. I learned a lot about sustainability and agriculture and had a great time with the people working there. A lot of what they do at the Outback is considered biointensive growing, which involves strategic placement of plants for a variety of reasons. One is to ward off insects so that pesticides are not needed to be used, which leads to an organic crop. Biointensive growing also uses compost as the only means of fertilizer. This helps with sustainability as well as preventing against excess nutrient runoff into surrounding water sources, which can have disastrous results. There are also focuses on getting the most crop yield from a smaller area than traditional farming, which we'll talk about in the next slide. This diagram shows the differences between traditional planting methods on the left and biointensive methods on the right, demonstrating how biointensive growing utilizes strategic placement of plants to get the most yield from an area. Crops with a deeper root system, such as tomatoes, are mixed in with crops with a shallower root depth, such as onions. This way the crops can be planted together and still get the nutrients they need. This is beneficial because we can use less water while watering the plants because we're using a smaller area, as well as it can be done in anyone's small backyard. The pictures on this slide explain double digging, a process often used in biointensive planting. The first row is dug and the dirt is put aside for later. We then till the dirt until loosened to a depth of often 24 inches. Then we dig the second row and use the dirt from the second row to fill the hole of the first row. We continue this process until we get to the last row and then fill that hole with the dirt from the first row. This method helps aerate the soil, which boosts plant growth, as well as makes the ground softer to encourage deeper root systems, which can absorb more nutrients. Another big part of the outback is the utilization of perennial crops. Perennial crops are often quite similar in crop yield to their yearly counterparts, but can last a lifetime. A few benefits of this is that they build deeper root systems over the years, which means less fertilization and less need for watering. These root systems can often help with erosion as well, in that they hold the dirt on hills in place. Another benefit from perennials is that in the off-season, part of the plant dies off, leaving biomass on the ground to decompose and enrich the soil for next year's crops. This is a picture of me working in the greenhouse, pulling the peppers and basil in preparation to plant the cover crop. A cover crop is a plant grown not necessarily for harvest, but for soil enrichment. Our cover crop was a mixture of legumes because they have a symbiotic relationship with bacteria that turn nitrogen in the air to nitrogen in the ground that can be used by plants. The biggest thing I took away from this project was that sustainable agriculture can be done on a small level by almost anyone, anywhere, and that something as small as a backyard garden can make a big difference on our planet.